Hello, welcome back. Here in the land of the free and the brave. Trying to be brave enough to speak my mind and brave enough to try to help people understand why. Because, isn't that a question we always ask? In our last video, I ended it with talking about Yuri. And we're going to continue that. Got myself some grapefruit. Do you like grapefruit? I hear it's good to lose weight with, but the problem is, it's like you eat grapefruit every day, you get tired of it. I do. So, last I was telling you how we've been subverted. And we're talking about Yuri Bezmenov, who was a journalist and worked for the KGB during the USSR time. And I was telling you how they begin the subversion with affecting our religion, our education, law enforcement. And this is called demoralization. That's what they're doing. They are, where we once were a very moral people, now we're becoming immoral. And I honestly can see it. So they're going to subvert us to demoralize us. And that's one thing I didn't mention in the last video. But so it's called demoralization. To unmoralize someone. Do not be moral anymore. And the end game is you get to a place where everybody doesn't know what's good or bad anymore. That everything is turned upside down. That regular science is flipped on its head, flipped on its end. And we can definitely see that with the, and how they gave us that kind of science about the, And then, and I was saying, hey, that's not how these are supposed to work. You know what I'm talking about? I know you do. But they're not supposed to work that way. That's not how these work. Why are they saying this? That's not right. I'm sure you know. So that's a form of subversion and demoralization. It makes it a perverted understanding of the science. If you really want to know how these really are supposed to work, probably go back to the 1970s, 1980s science about it, and you'll learn the truth. Because that is the truth. That's how it's supposed to work. That's why all the other that we give our babies works to stop them from getting these, not these diseases. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, everything is totally raw here. I don't have any fancy equipment right now because all of it is actually at my mom's house because we were planning on moving over there. But things change. That's one thing you can definitely count on when it comes to your life and this world, this plane of existence. That is the one thing you can count on. That things change. And that you make plans, and my creator of the universe, he changes them for you. Anyway, so demoralization, and we were talking about how they do that through movies and media, and nowadays social media. And during that time, during Yuri's time when he was giving these lectures, social media didn't exist, but television media did. And televisions, if you look back in history, you will find that the first time that they made televisions, it was for the intention to hypnotize. Because if there's one thing that governments have been trying to do for years, is get into the minds of the people, to control them and their thought processes. And honestly, they're doing a good job. They really are. They are really taking their mad scientist way to the next level. And it just gets worse and worse every decade that I'm alive. But as I was telling you, it takes 15 to 20 years to completely demoralize a country. So yeah, okay, so they probably have more than 10 years on us, probably 15 or 20 by now, because it is almost complete. And I see a lot of religions, pushing back on the ideology, the perverse ideologies that have been pushed into our babies. I see religions beginning to rise up and push back. And I say, keep going. Because one thing that Yuri says at the end of his lecture is that the only thing that can save a country from the demoralization and the complete agenda is religion. Ain't that a hoot? I was shocked too. Yeah, it's religion, because why? Religion is a good foundation. It's a good start for what? Moral standards. True religion. I'm not talking about cultic religion. I'm talking about true religion. True religion leads you on the path to being a decent person. Because what is the main agenda of most decent religions? What is it? Okay. Love everybody and don't be a jerk. I'll keep it clean as I can. Don't be a jerk. Stop being a dumb butt. Gain some knowledge, wisdom. As I tell my kids, I need to help you get rid of the stupids so that you can function in life better. That's the aim of good faith-based religions. Stop being stupid. And love everyone. Stop being stupid. Stop being a jerk. Stop being worse than a jerk. Then it gives you guidelines and it helps you walk that path, whichever path it is. It doesn't matter. A good religion, a good faith-based religion is going to teach you not to be a dingleberry. Do you know what a dingleberry is? You need to look it up. I want to explain what a dingleberry is, but you need to look it up. It's a slang term for something. But yes, a good faith-based religion is the only thing that can, if a country has been completely subverted, that is the only thing that's going to help it to come back to a healthy mentality and a healthy moral standard. And it's really interesting because Trump is saying now that he wants America to embrace our religion. And what he's talking about is a lot of people believe that America was founded on Christian values. And I say yes. I would say yes. Christianity was way more prevalent, 30s, 40s, 50s. It started being more subverted in the 60s and 70s, but it was still there. 80s and 90s, it was really having trouble hanging on. 2000s, man, churches are emptying out by the thousands. So, he gets people to the subverters get people to distrust law enforcement. Does that sound familiar? Defunding the police. That is one thing that Black Lives Matter would religiously scream, defund the police, defund the police, defund the police, And, but they get people to not trust their police, not trust their government, not trust politicians, etc., etc., etc. Which that is, politicians are hard to trust, even in a good society, let me tell you. However, so we were talking about law enforcement and military. That's another thing. Defunding the military. Does this sound familiar? Because I know a particular ice cream eating president. Loves ice cream. That kind of left $85 billion worth of equipment in said country over there that begins with an A. Terrible. Terrible. But, that's what we're doing. We've been subverted, people. We have Marxists and Leninists in our government. We have Marxists and Leninists in our colleges and in our public schools, our high schools, junior highs, junior high, middle school, they call it middle school, junior high, same thing, and our elementary schools. We do. So they're going to infiltrate with different propaganda methods, these subverters that come into our country. They can even be in the form of an exchange student. Yeah, and they've been doing this not just to America. Nicaragua. Let's see, what's another one? Afghanistan is another one. I have them written down here somewhere. I think Rodan. I guess how you pronounce it. I think Rodan was another one he mentioned. Bear with me while I find it. Actually, let me pause. I'll be right back. Okay, so this has been done in countries like Nicaragua, El Salvador, Rhodesia, and these people, and he explained how they would take down their leaders and stuff after everything was fulfilled. So I was like, really? So after that leader that they had been subverted as well, because they believe the ideology of the Marxist-Leninist and all of that, after they're done ruining their own country, and they help them, they don't try to stop them. They don't try to do anything by force. They just say, yeah, you're going the right direction, and they pull them into it and let them go, keep going, making it worse and worse for their people. That's what they do. But after that, pew pew, they're done with them. Pew pew pew. So they subvert the highest places in our government. Think about that. The highest places in our government. I know someone with the initials NP in our government that I think is kind of iffy. Yeah. Every time a certain person who's running for the 2024 election would say that we work for the people, that person, NP, would be pursing her lips in her seat, and she'll be on. That's what she'd be doing. And I was just amazed. I was like, wow. She really hates the thought of being a servant to the American people. But see, they are. That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to represent us because there's so many of us. We have 330 million plus people in America. We do. That's a lot of people. And we put these parties in place, and those people up there, the governors, senators, etc., 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 to handle it. There's more of us than there is of them, but they're supposed to be representing us. And yes, they're serving us, and they're supposed to be using our taxes for good things. To what? What is our taxes supposed to be for? Have you thought about that? What we pay in taxes? They throw our taxes away. They throw, especially this administration. They throw them away, and they support the Taliban. I'm like, my God, are they really doing that? Yes, they really are. Us, the American people, the taxpayers, are supporting the Taliban's efforts by weaponizing them. More money, more weapons. Question. And they said it was supposed to be money that the Taliban got from us in order to help the people over there. Why are we giving money to a criminal organization? They're not helping anybody but themselves. So what's the deal here? That's all I'm going to say about that. So, So another thing that they do when they subvert a country, and this is according to Yuri. Of course, I'm not a USSR person, never lived there ever. I was born and bred in America, So I don't know anything about this. This was news to me when I found this. So the Soviet propaganda makers are pushing you into the direction that you'll say to yourself, equality! We must have equality! Equality! And that's one of the big ones, and that is a Marxist-Leninist point of view. But in our country, we say all men are created equal in our Constitution, right? We are created equal as in we are all human beings. Yes, thank you. That's how we are created equal. We are human beings. That's it. But every single human being in America has their specific skill, trade, propensity for, things that they're good at, than other people. We are not equal bakers. We're not equal barbecue makers. We're not equal seamstresses. We're not equal engineers. We're not equal construction workers. Because I guarantee you, I cannot build a freeway as good as those guys that are hanging from those big tall pillars can. I am not equal to them. But see, we've perverted the idea. Do you remember affirmative action? If you're brown, you probably do. Maybe if you're white, I don't know. Maybe if you had the position in a company to hire people and you were being forced to hire people, whether they were qualified or not, as long as they were of a specific race, that's affirmative action. Because they felt that minorities are being left behind, not getting jobs and whatever, not enough of them, so we should do affirmative action and make sure that we get enough Mexicans, Chinese, Native Americans, African Americans, who else? Just make sure you got the rainbow going on in a place. A long time ago, I got a job working for ABC, not because of my skills, because I just graduated from a broadcasting school, and they needed a Hispanic. Now, I'm three different things. I got Spaniard, Hispanic, and Native American Apache in me, okay? So there was one Native American working there already, but she was full-blood. I'm not. But, so when I went in, it was because of affirmative action that I got that job. They should have hired somebody else, because I was more of a camera operator and I wasn't as good at master control operations. I just wasn't. I was more of a camera operator. But that's all they had available, so I took it because I was young and I should have waited until I could find the right position, but I didn't. Of course, it didn't work out for me because I wasn't a good master control operator, but it didn't feel good to get that job just because of the color of my skin. You're not doing a minority any help if they're being put in positions that they're not qualified for. That's the only thing I have against affirmative action. It should be not that you look at the application or the resume and see that they are of Arabian descent or Hispanic descent or Spanish or Native American or whatever, and then you go, oh, well, do we have any of those? We don't? Okay, he's in. No, it shouldn't be that way. It should be, is he qualified? It would be so nice if they took race out of the picture and just looked at the qualifications of a human being. That's equality. Because if you have the skills, you went to school, you can operate this equipment that they want you to operate. You know how to do it. Or you know how to work in that office building. You know how to be an administrative assistant. Then you are the one that should get the job no matter what color you are. Now, don't cry to me because, you think, I'm a minority and I can't make it up against these other people that are white. They're going to get the job because they're white, or whatever. I mean, if you're not making it, then you need to study harder. You need to go back to school. You need to be better. Not be given a leg up just because of the color of your skin. I'm sorry. I wish it was different. I do. And for a long time in my younger years, I was kind of mad about that because I got passed up a lot of times for higher jobs, raises, and things like that. And I got mad. Yeah, I did. But then to get a job with affirmative action, it didn't make me feel good either. Because then I thought, I'm not good enough, so therefore I need this, right? Didn't like it. So I don't like this equity thing. Because equity is supposed to be all about fairness, yes. Nowhere does it say in equity, when you look at the definition, it says, inclusion, we must include everybody. No. It's just about justice and fairness, that's all it is. But it's been perverted. Inclusion doesn't help anyone. It doesn't. If you're a great basketball player, that's great. Be a great basketball player. But just because you don't have a Mexican on your team, most Mexican men are very short. It's not going to help you to have a Mexican guy on your team unless he's like crazy skilled. I know there's one basketball player, I can't remember his name, he's black. He's really little. I used to love seeing him play because he was really good. But usually you have to be really, really tall to be a really good basketball player. So, come on. Look, you want to really have equality in this country? Yes, the equality comes from equal opportunity for everyone. And that's what we have in this country, an equal opportunity. That's where the equality comes in. You have an equal opportunity to get a degree, an equal opportunity to build a business, an equal opportunity just to be a housewife, an equal opportunity to be a delivery guy. It's all equal. And it should be leveled against what you know to do, unless you get with a company that will train you to do the job. It shouldn't be, you're brown, we need a brown person, we have too many white people, or we need an Indian person, we have no Indian representative in our company, from India. It shouldn't be that way because, come on, you might not get the best for the job. And that job may not be one that trains them to be the best for that job. But now we have this perversion. And the perversion comes from Marxist-Leninist points of view in order to subvert a country and destroy it, demoralize it, down to the point where nothing can get done because you have a bunch of people marching in the streets for their equal rights that they already have. I'm like, do you not get it? I wonder when I look at these young people, do you not get it? You're in a country that gives you the equal opportunity to become what you want to be. Now, does everyone become what they want to be? No, absolutely not. That's not how it works. Because in capitalism, you have to have the underdog in order to have the elite. The billionaires, the millionaires. The people that make $100,000 a year, the people that make $60,000, $80,000. It just goes down, down, down until you have the people that are on welfare. Or even the people that are homeless. Because not everybody in America can be the top dog. Because it takes the underlings to make the top dog. That's capitalism. Capitalism is, it's supposed to be you have three tiers. You have the mega millionaires, and you have the middle class, and then you have the impoverished. But now we added a fourth one. We have the homeless. Yeah, they're in the very bottom. That's sad, but that's capitalism. If everybody was a millionaire, I don't know if that would be good either, because then who would be working? Millionaires, after they've made their money, what do? They do their hobbies. They go traveling. Well, at least their family does. The guy who made the money, he's still trying to juggle all the money and keep it moving, because, see, that's the thing about millionaires. They have to keep the money moving. And all these people that are saying, oh, tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. They don't understand how taxes work. They have no clue. None. Because if you're saying tax the rich, then you're down here in the lower class and you haven't been taught how money works. These guys, they know how to work the tax system. If you actually looked into the tax system, you will see that it's actually for us, not against us. But what they're trying to do to it is pervert it to make it not for anybody. But see, like, okay, for example, real estate. I know you can buy real estate, right? Like, say you buy a building. Do you know that once you buy that building and you start operating, it's already depreciated? Thousands of dollars it's depreciated. Even millions, depending on how big the building is and where it's located, etc., etc., etc. So even when they start business and start making money, they've already lost thousands, if not millions of dollars because of the depreciation of that building. That's how come a millionaire or a billionaire can write that off on their taxes. Hello? Are we awake yet? Are we listening to how this really works? That's how come they can write off all these buildings and developments. Because even though they're making money through this thing, they've lost money because of the depreciation. So then they can claim, well, I've lost $100 million this year. And the more they lose, the better off they are. They get it down to they don't have to pay zero. Nothing. And people are mad, but they don't understand the system. That's the problem. The system is actually rigged in your favor if you understand the system. But see, we're not educated that way. It took me years to find this out. I used to hate money. Hated it. Wished it didn't exist. Because it's like everything depended on money. Until I started studying about it. And let me tell you something. The more you hate something, the less of it you have. So I had to look at it differently so that I could start having money. Yeah. It's really true. But yeah, all these people and stupid AOC over there wearing a dress with blood red paint. Tax the rich! Stupid idiot. Idiot thinking. She knows what she's doing. She's making billions probably right by now. Just being stupid. Why? Because they think we're stupid. And we're not stupid. We're not. We're just ignorant. And you might think that's an insult. It's not. All it means is someone who doesn't have that knowledge. You don't have that knowledge. You don't have that knowledge, and you don't have the wisdom to use it. Because if you did, you would, right? I mean, wouldn't you want to own property? Well, and then you think, well, some people don't have the money to own property. I haven't figured that part out yet, but I know that you can buy property without your own money. Haven't figured out how that works yet, but I know it's possible because I've seen it everywhere. There was a song called Are You Down with OPP? That's other people's money. I believe that's what that was talking about, you know? So here we are, falling for all the propaganda about equity and equality. You know? Just because, let's say, one person goes to Harvard and one person goes to, let's say, Texas Christian University, and they go for the same thing, doesn't mean that those two people are equal in education. Are they equal in their skill set now? The only equality that we really have is if we choose to be equal in opportunities. That's it. If we tear that down and we start putting the legislation for equality, equity, inclusion in our government legal speak, then we're going to find ourselves in a whole hell of a lot of problem. Got to make it more simple than that. If you're qualified, you're qualified. If you're not, get over it. Go back to school, get better at it. Become an intern to get better. If you're not good enough for it. Not that you're not a good enough person, but maybe Carl had better scores than you did. He understands it better. Like, say you have two paralegals. My friend's a paralegal. I took paralegal classes. I hated it. It was so boring. Which is really weird because I should have liked it because I love information. But I don't like the way contracts are worded. I don't like the Mariner's speech at all. I don't like it. Marine speech, whatever we call it. Mariners, I think. Because basically the law sees you as a person on the sea, on the ocean, floating with a life raft. That's it. That's how they see you. And I found it boring. So I tried to go into web design because I'm more of an artist person. I didn't like that either. Could not get into that. It was too boring to sit there and try to program with coding for hours and hours and hours. And I felt that was very boring as well. So, I haven't really found a technical job that I liked yet. And I'm 54, and some of us just take a long time to find our calling. We just do, and there's nothing wrong with that. There have been plenty of old people that finally found their calling once they were old. In their 60s and 70s. I have friends that did. And they went from different business to different business trying to find the one that worked. And they finally found it. And I'm real happy for them. My husband and I are actually talking about getting a food truck. Because I can cook. I'm a good cook. I know you can tell. Look at this. Yeah. Never trust a skinny cook. Don't believe that. I've had plenty of skinny women cook for me and they did a good job. I guess a guy could be a good cook too. My son's a good cook. He wants a sandwich coffee shop, which I think is awesome. He should have it. So, all this propaganda, this subversion, it has us all walking around like idiots, demanding our rights. You already have your rights. You're in America. We have the Constitution. We have the Bill of Rights. All these things that are in those two documents is what keeps you from becoming a slave. Well, we're always, and that's another thing, the labor and employer relations is another thing that got subverted in our country. They make it to where we can't barter our labor anymore. Used to, you go to get a job and you and your bosses sit down and you would decide what you were worth as far as hourly pay. It was subverted, and now they make you feel like you don't have a right to ask for a little more money for what you do. That process has been subverted. That's another thing they do. So union strikes and all of that happen, and those are supposed to help workers to get better hourly wage and better conditions in their workplace and all. And it's been subverted. So really, we don't get that. And then when people go on strike these days, it hurts a lot of people. You miss hours, paychecks. Then the employer hires scabs. You know what those are, the people that come in to work for the employer under against the people that are picketing. And then of course the people that are picketing get mad at those people to go in and taking advantage of the opportunity to get to work. They get mad. Violence breaks out. It's a mess. This happens. You know? They can't come up with good logical solutions. You know, the garbage men have gone on strike, like in New York and wherever. It goes on and on instead of the labor, the employer being more willing to really take care of the laborers. They're not. So you end up with a big old stinky city because they won't go pick up the trash. And then they don't get paid for all that time they're picketing. And everyone suffers for it. We've been subverted. So, let's see. What else does he say? He made a joke. He said, the absolute equality exists in Soviet Union, quote unquote, equality. Everybody's equal in dirt, he said. Except some people are more equal than the others in the Bureau. People laughed at that. You're going to check out this lecture. It's really good. He really makes a lot of good points. A lot of what he said is already happening here in America. I don't know, it's about hour and a half, 2 hours long. But let's see what he said. So they go after the religion, education. Social life is different. Once we're subverted, we end up with social workers, and that's true, we have those. Also the labor relations. Also they go after the power structure, which we're dealing with right now. And I was listening to this one video, and they were in the government, one of those buildings where they were discussing the problem with the biological men and women sports thing. And one senator was talking to a man who was for it. His name was Mark something. Anyway, Mark was trying to defend the ideology of transgenderism and having biological men in women's sports. But you could tell just listening to him, he was even having a hard time. He's definitely a subverter, but he was definitely having a hard time explaining why this is okay. You know? So we're in a really bad battle for the minds of our children, and to keep ourselves from being subverted and derailed like Tara was, because he used to be normal, but it didn't take him long to get the infection, and the next thing you know, he's walking around, I'm a woman, you know. So let's see, we get the demoralization down. We end up with our social justice warriors, which is a Marxist-Leninist term. Trying to battle for everybody to have social justice. You know, if everybody would just let the system work the way it should be working, we would have a really nice country. We really would. So now we get the demoralization down. He says, then the destabilization. So get the demoralization down. Now we need to go in and really stoke the flames and destabilize. And they destabilize everything. Everything becomes radicalized. Everything. Just like right now. Everything is radicalized. People can't see good and bad or evil or good or anything. They have so much trouble. They can't even tell you exactly what a woman is. Now that's some serious problem. I mean, seriously. But like I said, one of the problems we have in America, not that free speech is a problem, it's just that, everybody should be allowed to say whatever they want, but they have to do it in a way that doesn't diminish our rights as American citizens. If you were going to teach somebody Marxist, Leninist teachings or propaganda, it doesn't need to be an indoctrination. It needs to be, this is what they do, but we are America. We don't do this to our people. We do this instead. That's how it should be. But instead, we end up with all these people that are indoctrinating others into it, into that ideology, into that thought process. So now we have all these kids walking around. I hate America. They want that. They want to be controlled. And it's very scary because I don't want to be controlled. I've seen what they did in Venezuela. Those poor people were starving to death. God. Beating each other up for bread. A can of tuna. A carrot. A potato. Hundreds of them. Trying to get to that little bit of food. I haven't looked into what's going on in Venezuela in a long time, but that was the last scene I saw. And I was like, I don't want that here in America. I might get skinny. No, I'm not an advocate for being fat. I just happen to be fat. And I don't like all these women that go to Walmart and they get on their scooters. I'm kind of a little bit, I get mad at them a little because I'm just like, of anything, this should be your walk time. If you're going to go shopping, you should be walking. I do the same. I walk, I do that. I don't do the same. I don't get on scooters. No, I walk. I speak what I do what words. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. So, let's see. So when the legitimate powers cannot function anymore, then the unelected take power. And if it's denied, they take it by force. I want you to look into Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, King Charles, World Economic Forum, World Health Organization, Agenda 30. Look into these things. These are the unelected, and they have a plan. Because they're evil. Telling you. Klaus Schwab even looks like that guy. Dr. Evil even talks to it like him. Klaus Schwab. When you look into their meetings that they have, do you know in the audience, I keep seeing the I don't know what they're called, but these guys that are Arab and they wear the headband that goes around like this with the white covering. The audience is full of them. It makes me wonder. And then the people from America come too, that are billionaires, that believe that they have a right to tell us, what to eat, because, they've been, if you haven't looked into it, they've been destroying farms, food farms, anything that raises animals, chicken farms, cow farms. They've been destroying them. Why? Listen what they're trying to do to us. Bill Gates wants us to either not eat meat at all and just eat his faux meat, which is going to be made of these little things that crawl around on our floors and fly through the air. He's going to mush them all together. Humans are not meant to eat that. We're meant to eat good fruit, good meat, good vegetables. And Gates wants power over all the food. They want to make it illegal for us to garden on our own. That's trying to go through right now. And that's from the World Economic Forum. And they want to legalize all sexual activity. That means any sexual activity and with any age of a person, which really blows my mind. That's the World Economic Forum. Look at their policies. That's what they want to do to America. And our president is so... he just might do it. Because I think he is evil. I think he is. Very. I think a lot of people have been paid off to ruin things because they may have been promised certain things. And I think that that they're kind of like a fool to believe that something evil would let them have what they've promised them. Because as Yuri says, when it's all done, pew pew. That's what he does. That's what they do, the subverters. Society collapses once all of it is done, once it's finished. We go into crisis after the destabilization. We go into crisis. And everybody starts, the world is a mess, so people start crying out for a savior, for someone to come help them, right? Oh, they'll get their savior, all right. As soon as he comes on the scene, the first thing he's going to do is take out all the people that helped him subvert the country. And then the rest of us are going to have to deal with the fallout of all these decisions. It's not going to be easy. Here's a book that I'm wanting to get, to read it to see more. The Socialist Phenomenon. By Igor Shafarek. You want to see it again? I know my handwriting is sometimes difficult to read, but Klaus Schwab, one of the leaders of the W.E.F. Of course, King Charles is the main leader, but Klaus Schwab is kind of like his mouthpiece. He's like the mouthpiece of the main leader. And you know that King Charles is all about globalism, the global religion, making you eat bugs as well, less meat. He says less meat. He doesn't say the bugs, but we all know what he means. But he has Klaus Schwab just, but the 5 pillars that Klaus Schwab has in store for us people, us that don't make billions of dollars, because everybody that does make billions of dollars, they'll be safe. because they need their money. The first pillar is, and all these pillars are meant to box you in, into a little box where you don't have any more rights at all, because everybody else is directing you. Like in the book by Orwell called 1984, this is what Klaus Schwab has in store for us. The first pillar is directive power. Directive power directs the people. Like I've talked to my kids and I'm like, they want to know everything that you buy, eat, do, where you live, what's inside your house, what you're doing in your house, when you leave, what kind of car you drive, everything. They want to direct everything about you. In 1984, that book, they even had monitor screens in everybody's house. And there'd be this lady that would come on there and say, all right, time to exercise. Get up, comrade, get up. And everybody would be exercising whether they wanted to or not. Might be good for me. No. No, I have other problems, so don't worry about it. I do the best I can. Shush. It's not you I'm shushing me. Okay, so the first pillar that he wants to erect for his agenda, for the agenda of the World Economic Forum, for a global government, a global takeover, right, is directive power, to direct the people to do whatever they want. The second pillar is, innovative power in business, innovative power. So they want to direct all the businesses and what they need to innovate for everyone to have to deal with. So they want people, just like when we had COVID, that was their first experiment. Ooh, I said the word, ooh. But when they had that, that was their first experiment. Because they are mad scientists. Yes, they are. So they're crazy. They're cray-cray. So they have directive power, first pillar. Innovative power, second pillar. They want to control all the businesses. That means you don't own your own business. And if you do have a business that they said you could have, they have the power to tell you how to do it. You can't run your own stuff. No. The third pillar is civil society. So, concern pillar. So there'll be a wide range of non-government, non-profit, and voluntary-driven organizations. These organizations, they're just going to propaganda you all to hell. Make you believe things are happening that are not. Force you to volunteer, force you to do things. These are going to be means of control, more control, more control. Okay, fourth pillar. Academia. They want to be involved in all the education system. Why? Mind power. They want power over your mind. Yep, power over your mind. So they can brainwash everyone that goes into the schools that they provide and that they are in control of. That's the fourth pillar. Remember, this is Klaus Schwab who we're talking about here. And it's the World Economic Forum. Please wake up. Please see. We can't be asleep much longer. We got to start being enlightened and see what they're trying to do to us before we end up in a little bitty box. And this is what we get to live in. So, fourth pillar is academia. Fifth pillar, the media. That is the power of persuasion. The propaganda machine. So, my dears, we are in danger of directive power, the power to direct the people, business innovation, the power to direct all businesses in society. Thirdly, the pillar of civil society, or the power of concern, which is propaganda machine as well, but all these different organizations that are going to be set, like voluntary driven organizations as well as social movements. All these will be in place. You'll always hear about these people doing stuff. Okay. The fourth power, academia, which is mind control or mind power over your mind. And then media, to spread their propaganda and persuade us to continue to allow this kind of society to exist. And that's all I have for you. This was part 2. And I love you guys, and I hope that you learned something. Please let me know in the comments what you think, or if you're curious about something, or maybe you have more information for me down this rabbit hole, because it's a lot. But this is what's happened to us. So, check out Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum and their agenda, and these are all the billionaires all over the world. And then check out Yuri Bezmenov. He has lectures from the 1980s, and this one that I was telling you about is Understanding Modern Political Scenario. So I hope this was helpful. Please let me know, and click and subscribe, and by all means share. You can share everything, and be nice in the comments. I know not everybody's going to agree with me, but if you found it valuable, keep coming back, because I'm still digging, I'm still learning, and I have a lot to share, and to try to be one of the helpers in the world that sees what's going on and is finding out who's doing it, why, and what we need to do to make it better. And one of the key points we need to do is make sure we have a good religious foundation and stay moral, because the more demoralized we become, the less we're able to help anyone. Alrighty, have a good one.